Hi guys, hope you're all well. Today, I don't know if you remember, in a previous video I said I might do a few kind of back to basics videos, maybe revisit some of the techniques I did in my first videos, you know, try and enhance them or make them a little bit better. And while I was thinking about that, I was also thinking about that I know a lot of you are struggling at the moment to get clay. We're all struggling. I've had to really search and pay, not overly over the odds, but a little bit extra just to get myself some translucent Cernit. So I totally appreciate that, you know, we're struggling a little bit at the minute. So I just thought I'd do something really simple today. A bit of an experiment again, but I just want to try it. So all you're going to need, I'm just going to use some white clay. You know, you could use whatever colour you want. We're going to make like a faux stone, a little bit like I've seen a few people add like black alcohol ink to white, and you get that you know, that veining that's black in it. And you can do it with turquoise and, you know, any colours that you might have. You could probably have a go at this. All you need is some one colour of clay and some embossing powder, or you could try it with some coloured mica and try it that way. Maybe add a little bit of liquid clay, clear liquid clay with your mica, just to help it bind a little bit better. But I'm just going to use this is just a Cheapy Craft brand that I've got, and it's just a gold coloured embossing powder. I'll just show you the label. There we go. And this is just I think it's made by the Tonic company. It's their Nouveau one, but again, it doesn't matter any you've got. I'm just going to use gold. And I thought I would just make like a fractured stone look, and like I say, I want to keep it as simple as possible. Again, trying to keep in mind that, you know, some of you haven't got a lot of clay, or you know, you don't want to get overly involved in different colours and things because you haven't got a lot of clay. So yeah, I'll stop babbling. So I'm just going to take a chunk of this, maybe a little bit more. Let me just bring my tubs over. Yeah, I'm just going to take just a chunk of this, not a massive amount. It's probably about half a 2 ounce block, maybe just a little bit more. And I'm just going to condition this a little bit, only because I've had this white quite a while. So it's it just needs a little bit of conditioning, I think. If yours is very fresh, you could probably just take it out the pack and chop it up. It would probably be fine. So I'm just going to go and condition this, just get it moving a little bit, warm it up a little bit, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay guys, so I've just put it through on a 0. What I am going to do is I'm just going to stack it, just to make a bit of a block, just to make it easier on myself. Because I just want to cut this up into little chunks. So I'm just going to, this is quite a sticky clay, the Primo, so I'm just going to cut some pieces off. I'll just do these for now, and I'm just going to cut myself some angular chunks, not too small, Not as fine as we have done in the past for other things. I just want some nice angular cuts. I'll just leave that to one side, bring this other bit in. It's got a little bit of black on, so I must have picked a bit of something up off my machine. So I shall leave that bit there. Where's that? I'll just get a bit of kitchen roll and wipe this bit of black off, guys. Not that it probably matters. I'll leave that bit, it's a bit grotty. Yeah, I made the rookie mistake, and I've just put white through when the last clay I was using was black. So it's left a few marks on my clay. Again, nothing drastic, nothing that can't be wiped. There, so they're not too small. I'm just going to crumple them up a bit. Can you see? They're not too small pieces. I want it to look quite chunky. Right, I'll just grab a piece of scrap paper. One sec. Just because I know this is probably going to get really messy with the embossing powder, so I'll just get my clay onto this paper. Just break some of this up a little bit. Where some of the chunks are stuck together, just so I can kind of get a little bit of a coating on each piece, really. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Well, I'm saying it doesn't have to be perfect. I haven't done this, have I? So I'm going to assume it doesn't have to be perfect. We just want a nicely chopped up lump of clay. There we go. And I'm just going to take my embossing powder and I'm going to liberally sprinkle some on. Give the clay a little stir in it, just so that the surfaces pick it up. Just keep tumbling in the embossing powder, break any big clumps up that you see. And again, you could possibly do this quite easily with some gold alcohol ink or similar, maybe a little bit of gold paint. I've not done this with paint, so I couldn't tell you, but if you've done this sort of thing before with paint, it would probably work, that you can have a bash. And like I say, I'm just keeping, I just want it all to have a really good coat on it. Oh, it's gritty and horrible. There we go. I think the best thing to do is just pick this up and pop it to one side a second. Try and get all the big well, not clumps of, let me just give it a shake. I'm just trying to get the excess off the clay without picking up more of the powder with my fingers, if that makes sense. And I'll just give this a little tumble to get these other big bits out. There we go, that'll do. I'm not going to tip this back in my tub, guys. You could probably do a better job, but because I'm filming, I don't want any bits of clay getting mixed in it. So I'm just going to pop that in the bin. A bit wasteful, I know, but it was on it, you know, a little bit, wasn't it? And I'll just pick this back up onto my paper again, and I'm just going to now see if I can get it to come together. Now I may have to add a little bit of alcohol ink just to help. Not alcohol, I'm just going to add a little spray of alcohol just to get the clay a little bit sticky. I think it'll be easy if I just pick it up and there we go. If I just gently squeeze it in my hand, it comes together nicely. And I'll just get this squeezed over the paper and then I'll get rid of this paper. So I'm just squeezing that together firmly. There, I'll pop that to one side and just clean this mess up a little bit. I'm not good with gritty things on my hands. You know, sugar or anything that's gritty, I don't like it on my hands. It's just one of those weird things. I can't even walk barefoot on a beach. I've got to wear beach shoes. Funny these little quirks we all have, isn't it? Well, maybe it's just me, but yeah, so quirks some of us have. There we go, nice and clean. Let's give it a little dry because then wet wipes are quite moist. And there we go, we've got this little block. Now what I am going to do, using my wet wipe, I'm just going to try and get a bit of the excess off the surface. I know I won't get it all off, but I don't want it going everywhere again. So I'm just going to scrape some of that excess off my block. Again, if it doesn't bother you, you know, you'll be fine, but it bugs me. Right, I'm just going to shape this into some sort of a block. Just to make sure that the air's out. And I think I'll probably use a mould, guys, rather than a cutter for this. Let's grab a couple of moulds. Got my nice Sculpey one there. And where's my triangle? Oh, there it is. It's still on my desk. My triangle one, and I've got this long, thin one. I'll just give this a little wipe out because it's got a bit of dust on and cat fluff. Give it a try. There, I think these ones are okay. Yeah, there we go. So I'll just use these moulds, I think. So I'll just get my cutter and cut myself a nice slice of that off. And you can see the crackle, which, you know, again, we've done this technique a lot, haven't we? Lots of different people do it, but I just thought it might be interesting with the embossing powder, because that's now going to melt as it bakes and we're going to get a lovely gold, a true gold vein running through rather than, you know, a bit of paint or something. So that's why I really wanted to try it. Right, I'm going to put this face down in my mould because I know the other side's the better finish for it. And I'll just start to press it in. I could use one of my tools, really, couldn't I, to help me. Where's my big one? I have all these tools, you know, and I forget I've got them and end up struggling. Right, let me just use this to get that into the corners. I'm not worried about this face, guys, because what I'm going to do in a minute is put another slither on the top to make the back look as nice as the front. I just wanted to make sure that that was stretching into my corners, or I end up with a rounded triangle shape. I'll just give that a little roll. It looks quite dungy, grungy, doesn't it? Because the mica powder is quite dull until it heats and sets. So yeah, I'm just going to roll this piece out thin and just add it to the top of my piece. Then both sides are pretty. You don't have to do this step either, guys. It's just I made that mental note, didn't I, that I was going to make sure that I did pieces and finished them properly. And that should just fit over that. And that little bit can get pulled off and popped there. And now now I know my front and back will that other side's a bit stickier, so I'll just pop that other side down, give it a press. Now I just know that my front and back will have a nice pattern on it, rather than having that messy end, because of course with this we can't just wipe it off, can we, like we could with paint or alcohol ink or the similar. Right, let's just get this top sliced off. I think I've just cut most. Oh, it's worked. I was worried then that I'd actually slid the bit off that I'd just put on top. And of course those scraps won't go to waste. I'll make a bead or something with them. Just give that a little roll. So there we go, that's one pendant. I will bake this in the mould, guys. This mould is fine in the oven and it helps keep the triangular shape nice. So there, I've just stuck my thumb in it and flattened it. Something on my roller. Let's get that back nice and bonny. There, so that's one. And then I fancy doing something in this one, this long thin one. So I'll just I'm just going to cut that little chatty bit off to give me a clean edge. And if I cut this in half, it might work then. Pop that in there, and then I just need a little bit of this one, and I'll just trim that excess bit with the mica powder on off, and I'll squish this down into this mould. I may have to add a little bit on top here. Let's just give it a roll to get it going. Oh, Doris fluff. There, that should be in there nicely. I've just distorted my mould a little bit with the pressing. Let's see if I can get this flat on top. And I think it needs just a few slithers to top it up. So I'll just use this little piece to add a couple of slithers. It's just a little bit low in the mould. Oh, I can see a bit of fluff again. She's currently laying on my, I got a little parcel today, and it was in a little cardboard box, and Doris is currently residing on the cardboard box, rather comfortably, I might add. So at least she's out of my way today. She was being such a pest the other day. Such a little minx sometimes. That's better. That's filled it quite nicely. I think that back might need a bit of a sand though. Let's see if I can just rub that line out. I think I've done it. Just got a little line in the clay. You probably can't see it, but I'll probably have to sand the back of that one, guys, to finish it. But there, so we've got two, and I think maybe try to do a donut. I'll do a circle first. And I think I'm just going to use this circle cutter. Let me squitch it up a bit, just to help me, because then I won't distort it too much, and I will have the same pattern on the back and the front, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's going to need a bit more in there, but it's a start. And I'll use some of this to try and fill it up, because I would like to just keep the pattern nice on the front and the back. And I'll just add another little slither, and that should top it off nicely. Let's just pop that on there and press it in. Oops. Let's give it a roll. Get off. There we are. That's better. I just push it away from the edges, then I don't get that funny ridge you sometimes get. There we go, and I think I'd like to try a donut, but I don't know. Maybe cut the hole out of the middle. That's about the same size as the donut. I'll get it something like on the edges. And let's get one of my little cutters. Too big. Oh, that one should work well. I'm just going to punch a hole in the middle. And that should help then with the placement of this one. I'm just going to try and get that surface stuff to pop to the top, because then I can cut that off. Let's get that pressed in. Give it a roll. I'm going to just try this other blade. That one's it's sharp, it just doesn't behave well on these surfaces. sometimes when I want to keep it flat, it starts to cut the mould. Oh, that worked a treat. Must remember that for next time. Cut a hole in the middle. So we've got a nice little pendant and a nice little donut. Just make sure that's nice and smooth. And we've not got much left, have we? I'll make a little shape with this one. Now I am going to trim some of this backing bit off, so these little scraps can be turned into a bead. I just don't want too much of that outer banding to be on it, if that makes sense, because I'll just have to sand it off, won't I? So if I just get bits of it off, then it will just look a bit more natural rather than a big layer of the gold. There, that'll do. Let's put them bits to one side. They can just become a bead core or something, which we'll do with these scraps in a minute. Just give it a rough shape to get it going. And make sure it's pushed into those corners. There we go. Again, I'll just give it a roll to make sure that it's nicely pushed in. See, it's not quite got into that corner. And I'll get my blade. There isn't a lot of excess on this. Is that okay? I think it is. Just give it one last roll. Pull them edges away. And I haven't got any paper cut, so I'll just grab a bit of my wax paper and I'll pop it onto this. Oh, that should look quite nice, guys, if it works. There we go. Oh, we're doing really well. Look at all these. I've got loads. Right, what can we do with these scraps? Let's get these scruffy bits together and make a core. Oh, it's not want not. Then this is the little bit that I cut out with the circle cutter. I think I'm just going to leave that as it is, and that'll make an interesting little bead, won't it? And I'll turn these bits in on themselves and see if we can make an interesting bead with these bits. Well, not an interesting bead, a core with these bits. And I just want to see if they're about the same size. I'll add a bit of this. Might as well make sure they're both the same, mightn't I? Right, they're about the same, I think. Yep. I'm just going to use these little trimmings. I don't think it matters which side I use. Just going to use these little trimmings to wrap these beads. Like so. Get that to come together a bit better. That's round enough for my liking. I'm just popping that into the mould there because I'm going to put this mould in the oven too, guys. So I may as well utilise, let me just thin this piece out a little bit. Oh, I've got a tiny bit there. Oh, actually it might come in handy now, that tiny bit. Let's just flatten it. I need it to cover this bead a bit more. This bead is going to be significantly bigger than that one because the wrapping piece was bigger. Do you know what? I think that is so big that I'm just going to use it and make another cab rather than waste it on a bead. That could be quite interesting, couldn't it? And I'll just roll this up and make a small bead to go with that other bead. Okay, I'll pop that one in there to bake. I'm now thinking I might turn that into a cab as well. I will. Oh, what am I like? I personally would get more use out of a little cab than I would a little bead. So, and as it's only a few scraps, it won't really make any difference if it doesn't turn out brilliantly, will it? So I'll just roll this into a little bead. A little bead. Oh, I seem to have picked up a bit of blue from that mould. Okay, let's have a look. Let's give it a wiggle. Yeah, that'll do. So I've just got 2 little beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pendants, and this other little bead, which I'll just round those edges off a little bit, and I'll just pop it in there to bake. Then it's safe. Right guys, I shall go and pop these in the oven, clean up a little bit, and I'll see you when they're baked. See you in a minute. Hi guys. Well, I'm a little bit disappointed because as much as it looks fabulous, the gold is just not there. It's really weird. It's just gone like a murky grey colour. Now, bearing in mind, this hasn't been sanded or anything, and of course some of the stuff has oozed up a bit. Oh, sorry, oozed up a bit as it's got warm. So maybe it's just the powder. Could be the powder. I did put a little bit on a scrap, and that's what it should look like when it's melted. So I don't know. I don't want to try it with another powder and waste some more clay. It looks pretty cool. I'm wondering if when I sand it maybe some gold will show through. I don't rightly know, but I am really pleased with it because there's just some little bits that have just got a little hole in it, and it makes it look more stone like, because I didn't compress it together too much, did I? So anyway, I'll go and sand some. I'll still use them. They still, you know, look really, can't remember the name of the stone. Is it Howlite? It's white with veining in, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to call it Howlite, whether people think that's what it is or not. I'll go and give them a sand, a couple of them. You never know, it might surprise me, and just maybe it's because it's oozed on the surface doesn't mean there isn't gold underneath. But what I have done while this was cooking, and I realised that it wasn't going shiny, I got a bit more of white clay and I used a bit of gold alcohol ink, and I just made enough for 2 tiny little pendants, so at least we've got a comparison, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'll go and give these a bit of a sand. I'll wait till that other stuff's come out the oven and then we'll have a look. But yeah, a slight fail. They're very strong. They've stuck really well together. There's no cracks, you know, it's not going anywhere, so it has bonded really well. But yeah, it's just not nice and shiny like I thought it was going to be. So I'm a little disappointed, but I do this mess so you don't have to. So at least we've learned a lesson, haven't we? Let's not use embossing powders to do this technique because it doesn't seem to work. Right, I'll go and give a couple of these a sand, so we can look at the surface better on them, see how they look, and I'll see you in a min. Bye. Hi guys, right, I'm back. So these are the ones I did with the embossing powder. I've not given them a massive buff and polish, but you can see there's a bit of a shine on them. Yeah, they look great as a faux Howlite. I've just googled it, that's what it is called. They do look really good. You know, this was the one I mixed with gold alcohol ink, and you still can't see the shine. You can see little flecks in it, but nowhere near as shiny as I thought it was going to be fair. Now, is it the fact that it's, you know, if I'd have mixed it with some translucent clay, would that allow the light to reflect better? I don't know. The experiment may continue with this one, but for a faux stone, it looks pretty cool. I'm pleased with it. I actually prefer this one to that one because I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up. I'll try, and because the because the embossing powder is very gritty. Obviously the lines look different on the. It looks more stone-like because of the grittiness. So I must remember that for future use. You know, if I compare it to this one, these lines look very smooth in between, and these look a bit gritty in between, if that makes sense to you. But yeah, back to the drawing board to try and get a gold vein in there. But it still looks nice. And I think that wire wrapped in silver, once it's been finished properly, it needs a really good sand, to be fair. Once it's been finished properly, that wrapped in silver wire would look fabulous. So yes, back to the drawing board a little bit, but at least now I know that it won't work. Although I am toying with trying it again with some thicker embossing enamel rather than embossing dusty powders. I don't know. Might have to bind it a little bit with some clear liquid clay. I wonder if that would help. Oh, or if I used mica powder but bound that, would be thicker. Anyway, I don't know. I'm going to keep experimenting anyway to see if I can get a decent gold band in. But yeah, there you go guys. Bit of a fail, but still made useful pieces that once they're sanded up will make really nice bits of jewellery. I'm not going to finish anything off guys, just because they do need a very good sand, so I don't want to spend an hour now doing that and then coming back just to put a jump ring on or something. But I will share them in group and stuff when I do something with them, which may be later. So yeah, a bit of a fail, but I've still got some nice pendants out of them. Obviously these haven't been sanded at all. You can see the white comes back once they've had a bit of a sand. But yeah, I'll go and oh, I think that might look nice with that. I'll go and give these a really good sand and finish, then at least I can use them, because they're really they've really bonded really well. They're not going anywhere, they're not going to split or crack, even though there's a few little holes and things in. So yeah, I'll leave it there guys. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you all soon. Bye now.